Hi guys, it's Anne here, and today's video is my Pan That palette for 2020 update number 6. So we're halfway through the year, so this is my midway point update. The way I do this video is I will do a review of the palette I picked for my Pan That palette. I will then review the palettes I picked for the previous month, so the month of June, and then I will introduce the palettes and shadows that I'm going to use for the month of July. So let's talk about the palette that I'm using for my actual Pan That palette. And the palette is this NYX Ultimate Shadows palette in warm neutrals. And this is a big month. I hit pan on 3 shadows. So this corner, and this corner. Now, I talked about this in my last video. I hit pan on these two maybe 2 to 3 days after I filmed that video. So this one took a lot longer, and I was surprised that it took a lot longer. I thought I was closer than I was. And this was the other one that I was kind of focusing on. And while there's a nice little indent, it's still a little ways away from hitting pan. So I'm gonna do a little photo montage of the actual palette over the past 6 months to show the change. It's interesting to see the first few months, there's like barely any change. Actually, I think it's between January and February, or February, March, I can't remember. With the photos, I had to look at the actual timestamp of the photo to make sure it was the right month, because I thought I might have had them backwards, because it's just so hard to see the change in the actual pictures. But now we're starting to get some grooving. Like for this shadow, for example, you can see I'm sort of working on the inner corner here, and this one will be done for sure. This one feels like a little bit of a cheat because it did have, you can see between the pictures through January to February, there's a big gouge, because I'm pretty sure it was right after I filmed my intro, I dropped this and gouged this top shadow. So it's kind of a bit of a cheat that I hit pan on that one because I had a little help. Yeah, I've been using this palette quite a bit. So last month the palette was 99.67 grams. This month it's 98.87, and that's a difference of 0.8 grams. So that's actually my best month. I've gotten the most use out of that. In total, since the beginning, I've used up 2.76 grams, so that's approximately just over 3 full shadows. So if we were able to do this like sequentially, I would have used like these 3 and a little bit of this. So when I put it in that context, it's like, oh yeah, okay, I've used quite a bit of this palette, and I'm really happy with my progress on this. Will I hit pan on every single shadow? I don't know. I know I'm gonna struggle with these ones, and if I don't hit pan, it's fine, but I liked what I did last month with the little game of targeting some shadows here. So what I'm gonna do this month is I'm gonna target these 3. They're pretty much what I have on my eyes today, plus one other thing, but yeah, everything, the actual shadows on my eyes are all this palette, and I have these, I use these as like the base. I have this shadow and this shadow on the lid, these 2 in the crease, and then this on the outer corner. That's what's deepening the outer corner. And then I use this as liner. I do have black liner on as well, but then I use this as liner to sort of wing out. And yeah, so that's gonna be the focus for the next month is these 3. Now I talked about this, I don't know what order these videos are gonna go up, but I'm likely going home for some portions of July and August, so it will affect my Project Pan progress. Things might not go as smoothly as they have the past couple months. So I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a longer video because I do want to go in a little bit more depth on my review for June, particularly this palette, the Color Story Kaleidoscope palette. I tried to use this quite a bit. I used a lot of shadows in this, and this palette, again, I always have mixed feelings about it. If I were to declutter it, I mean, I wouldn't miss it necessarily, but I'm always like pleasantly surprised by this palette. It always kind of like, it's never what you expect. So I did a look with, I believe it was Electric and Goddess, and I liked the way that worked. Like it looked pretty nice. I think I might have thrown in a little bit of Astral on that, and it was a nice, like, even though this is like a color, it sort of blends in really, really nicely so you don't feel like it's overwhelming. And then I did a look with this stellar color. So this is the color that, like, you can see what it looks like in the pan. It looks like it's going to be this olivey green, but then when you swatch it, it's not the same. It's got a lot, like a bit of a multi-dimension to it. I'm not sure how well that picks up on camera. So I used these 2 colors for another look. And again, I really enjoy the way that looks, because again, they're sort of multi-dimensional. I mixed them in with some browns, I think, from my Project Pan palette, and yeah, it's just a really, really pretty, subtle color look. In my lip balm project video, the last lip balm update I did, I'm pretty sure I used this color and this color, mostly this color, and actually I found I was pairing a lot of them with this color, Celestial. This color, Celestial, is a really, really nice color. It's actually one of the most pigmented colors in this palette. I don't know if you can see it there on my finger, and then that's it swatched on the side of my hand there. I don't know how well that's showing up because it is pretty close to my skin tone. It's just a really, once you put it on the lid, it's like a ba-bam kind of color. So yeah, this was another look that I did with these two colors, the Goddess color and the Mystic color, and then Celestial. Again, a really beautiful mix of colors. It actually really reminds me of, I think it's the shade Hex that I have with that like gold purple shift. I almost kind of want to play with these colors and that shadow to see what kind of look I can get. I feel like I can get this look, but even more intense. In my Project Pan video, I went all out and I used Ethereal. So the only two shadows I used in that look was Ethereal and Celestial. And again, I just feel like this color sort of pairs really nicely with a lot of the other colors in the palette. So yeah, it's not like the most exceptional. And I think what I like about it is, I mean, looking at it, it looks really, really colorful and really intense. But the colors are not, they don't have to be that intense, so you can get the hint of color without being like it overwhelming. Does that make sense? So like I know this wouldn't be suited for everyone, and I don't know if I would even necessarily recommend this, because again, the quality is not that great, but it always surprises me that even though the quality is not that great and the colors sometimes come out differently than what you think they're gonna come out like, it's still a good palette. Like, I always enjoy the looks that I get out of it. I can't rationalize that. Like, my brain can't rationalize that. It doesn't really make sense. In my goals video, I was using my Project Pan palette, and I also was using this. This is the ColourPop Super Chalk Shadow in Birthday Wish. It's a crumbly hot mess. It looks nice when you put it on. I'm not sure how well it showed up in the video, but in person it's really nice. It's like a very multi-dimensional with a champagne base sparkle. It's unfortunate that mine is like, looks like crap, and it's dried out and it's starting to like fall apart. I think I had this at like a fresh state, it would be really nice, but mine came like that. Again, I think I might declutter this at the end of this year, but I do like playing with it. I would love to find something similar to this, especially something that didn't dry out. I thought I wore this in a video, but I feel like maybe I filmed a video and then I didn't publish it, which is highly likely. This is the Bare Minerals. It's more of like a, I did just watching it in my last video. It's more like a gold, old gold with like the yellow undertone. So it's a very unique and interesting color. I don't know if it's well suited for my eye color and skin tone. I think if you had green eyes or brown eyes, and if you had like an olive skin tone, this could look really, really pretty. But it came in like a kit, so I don't even know if they like sell these like regularly or anymore. I also talked about the Essence Metal Shock eyeshadow. I love this. I think it's a really pretty color. It's a great one and done. I think it just looks really beautiful. I can put this on and it looks like I spent effort doing my eyeshadow, and I didn't. So yeah, I also have one other one, a purple one in this. I've looked at their colors online. I went back after I filmed that video and looked at the colors online, and I don't think any of the other colors really appeal to me. And this one, I think online looked more pink. It's definitely more of like a goldy peachy color. Like, it's not pink. It's definitely more, it's got a pink shift, but it's more peachy pink than pink. I did play with a few colors in this little Color Workshop quad that I have. Again, it was one of those things that I didn't really want to wear this quad like all on its own, and I kind of regret picking this and then picking the Kaleidoscope palette. I didn't really realize, I don't know why I didn't clue in that there was like an overlap, like there's green shades in that palette. But anyway, this color, like this top little color here, it's really, really sheer, but it looks really, really nice paired with like my Project Pan, like with browns. I really, really like the way that looks. Again, it's this really subtle, sheer wash of color in with like a neutral brown, and it just gives this little interesting pop that looks really, really unique. I also did mix in a little bit of this with the outer corner, just again to give a bit of depth and like difference to the brown tone. It just adds like a little twist. So it's fun to play with something like this. I'm like, this probably cost 25 cents. maybe $1 with that whole kit. So it was kind of fun to have something like this and not feel like I didn't spend a lot of money. So I'm not feeling like, you know, if I end up like I'm never gonna finish this, and if, you know, in several years I decide to declutter it, I won't feel bad. So I also wore some of my nude sticks eyeshadows. They come in this little tin. This actually came with 2 lipsticks as well. So I have 4 eyeshadows here from Nude Sticks. 3 of them are like the metallic luminous eye colors, so these 3. And then this one is called Maroon, and it's a matte brown, so what that little color on the stick shows. I really enjoy these. So I did a look with just these 2 colors, Grotto and Marooned. So just these 2, which they look kind of dark when you look at them. And I mean, I can even just swatch, like Marooned, it's a little intense. And it's like, when you look at the eye look and then you look at the swatch, you're like, oh my God. Like, but they sheer out. Like once you put them on and then you just start tapping them out, you can see how they start to sheer out. And they're really, really pretty. They're really workable, really easy. I feel like, I mean, there's probably drugstore. This is something that maybe I should investigate, because I think CoverGirl has some eyeshadow sticks. There might be some other drugstore brands that have eyeshadow sticks, and it might be worth me checking them out and comparing them to these to see, you know, is this really worth it? I mean, these are still fairly affordable, especially if you buy them in the kit. I think individually they're not, I think they're, you know, well, I think they're not bad individually too. But if you get them in a kit, they're definitely way more affordable. Again, I don't see myself buying more of those, maybe 1 or 2 more. I could see buying like a lighter champagne color, because these are both pretty dark. Like I'm surprised. So when I wear this all over my eyes, it does look pretty dark. Again, I'll just swatch these. It's definitely a darker gold, and I wouldn't mind like a lighter gold color, maybe a taupe color. That one is Praia, and then this one is Pink Seychelles. And I wore Pink Seychelles in my nail polish video, and again, it definitely comes out darker. The one thing that I found was really interesting too is like you can blend this out, so I'll blend it out and then I'll apply a little bit more on the one side. And so maybe you can see that on the end there. So I sort of have like a sheared out part and like a deeper part, so you can almost create depth with one shadow, which I think is really interesting. That's what I tried to kind of do in that video, or in my look in that video. I also played with the Viseart palette. I wore this in a video, and I also played with a different, I thought I took some pictures, but I did a look, at least I took a picture of a look with the 2 pink color, and again, really, really pretty. It just has that right level of depth where it's not too intense, but it really has, I don't know, it has a really, really beautiful look. I really enjoyed it, and I've played with all of the colors in this, and I love this. Like, it's a perfect little palette for me. It's even a palette, like a standalone palette. I can wear all this as actual eyeshadows. I don't necessarily need to pair in anything else, which I enjoy that as well. And the face palette that I use is this Cover FX. I wiped this down already, and it's already like a hot mess. It's a really nice palette. I really enjoyed it. I'm surprised, like this highlighter is definitely way more intense than I think it is, and it's really, really pretty. Again, a little quick swatch there on the back of my hand, and even though it looks a little dark on my hand, once you put it on your face, it actually looks quite nice. I am sort of wearing a little bit of that today, but I'm sort of wearing multiple things. I didn't wear the blush or the contour, but I did try all the other products. The finishing powder is quite nice too. It looks like, when you look at it in the pan, it looks glittery, like it looks like you can see little glittery spots, but when you put it on your face, you can't see that. And yeah, so it was fun to play with this. So yeah, a little bit longer review, because I really wanted to actually, like, I really tried to play with what I had and wanted to do an actual review of the things I used. Okay, let's talk about the July pick. So I'm going to talk about the singles that I picked. I picked 4 singles, and we'll start off with the first one is this Ace Beauté single eyeshadow. It came in a BoxyCharm. I got this one in another sort of brown shade. This one's the pinky shade. It's called Cotton Candy. Really, really beautiful shade. I have swatches of all of these, so I'll show swatches in a minute. The next one is this Stila Kitten. It's in the Magnificent Metals eyeshadow formula. This is like a little mini, again, it came in a kit. This is one that, like, it's still really, really creamy, which surprises me because it's very old, but I keep it because I think, oh, I'll wear this for like a special occasion, but I never do. Like, the only time, let's be honest with ourselves, there's no special occasions happening in like 2020. at least for me. And even if it did, like the only thing I can picture is like a wedding, and I still probably wouldn't wear this to a wedding. So I don't know why I feel like I'm saving it for a special occasion, but we're not going to do a special occasion. We're going to do it for the month of July. I'm feeling very, you're going to see a theme, I'm feeling very like glittery and sparkly. I want kind of one and done glittery sparkly eyeshadows for the month of July. Again, talked about kind of going back and forth between home and here. And at home I really don't wear a lot of makeup, but I feel like something that's like an easy, you know, one and done sparkly shimmer is gonna look really pretty and minimal effort. And I always feel like I like wearing glitters in the summertime because when the sun shines on them, they're really pretty. Anyway, I think I said really pretty like 10 times there. The next one I want to talk about is the Stila, I think this is a glitter and glow, and it's in the shade Sunset Fire. So this came in a little trio with two others. This is sort of like the medium shade. There was like a yellowy shade and a more red shade, and this is sort of like a orangey kind of shade. And it's what I have, if you see at least, I don't know if you can see any glitter on my eyes, but that's what I do have very, very lightly tapped over my Project Pan shadows. And then the last one is a Fiorni loose shadow. Again, this one I was maybe not going to put it in because I'm not so sure about loose shadows. I don't really like them, but this one's so pretty that, oh my god, I just said it again. that I just wanted to include it. I don't know if I'll use this much, maybe once or twice. But anyway, here are the swatches. So the top one is the Ace Beauté, I think that's how you say it. The second one is Kitten. The one below that is the Stila Sunset Fire. And then the bottom one is the Fiorni Mythical Dalliance. So you can see the theme that's happening there. So today is July 3rd, and I still have not received my June Ipsy that I paid for in May. So when I do get that, I'm pretty sure I had an add-on with a Violet Voss palette, a little, I think they call them fun size palettes, and it's in the Creme Brulee. So if I get that, that will be included in my list of July palettes. I'm also going to continue using this one. This is the City Mini palette in 510 Blushed Avenue, and I did wear this in a video already. I've already played with it. I haven't played with all the shadows. Like I haven't tried the purple shadow on my eyes yet, and I don't know if I've used this shade on my eyes yet, but I've definitely used the three pinks and the neutral light peachy color. So yeah, I just want to continue to play with this more because it's new. The one thing that I didn't mention in my last video is when you open this up, like this is really small. Like it's very thin. These shadows are very small. I think it says on the back how big they are. The whole palette is 4 grams, and like I think I have, and then the individual shadows in here are approximately 3.5 grams. So that gives you an approximate size of how big this palette is, but I don't mind. Again, I spent $5 on this. I have so many eyeshadows. You're never gonna use these up. Like it's gonna take, even if I did use it up, yay, like I'd be pretty happy that I used this up. So it's just like a perfect little palette. Again, I feel like this would be a great little travel palette for me. I'm not intending this to be a Violet Voss month, again, if I get that other palette, but the third palette that I picked for the month is this Violet Voss Flamingo palette. This palette for me is just summer in a palette. I pretty much exclusively only use this in the summer months. I should probably not do that, but I love this palette. I've used it, again, I think I got it, I have the date on here. I bought it in 2018, and again, summertime is when I pulled this out, and I've used almost all the shades. I mean, I have used all the shades, but there's a few, like this one I don't really love, and same with this one. Like the orange on this one is just not the greatest. I want to play more with the yellows. I really don't use yellow. I don't know if I suit yellow, but yeah, I definitely am gonna have fun with this month. Again, it's a month where I'm not gonna be wearing a lot of shadows probably, so when I use this it'll just be like playtime. Probably I might just like sit down a couple of evenings and just play with it, and may not be able to wear it out as much as, you know, I might like to. I think it's a beautiful palette, and it's entirely unique in my collection. In the spirit of picking face palettes, I did pick this Anastasia Glow Kit in Sun Dipped. I got this in my Beautylish bag 2 years ago, and again, I probably would never have bought this on my own, but it is beautiful. These shades are really, really nice. Certain shades like this one, Tourmaline, it looks a little scary in the pan, but when you have it swatched out and you put it on your face, it actually looks really, really beautiful. So those are the shades right there. The top one is called Bronzed. The second one is called Summer. The third one here, that's the Tourmaline one. And then the bottom one is the shade Moonstone. I also pulled out this little Hamptons Weekender contour palette, just a little 3-shade palette. I've only used this a couple of times. I bought it for travel. Anyway, as I said, I might go home a few times, so I feel like this will actually be really practical. So I might not bring like the glow palette or other stuff, but this is probably what I'll end up bringing home because it's nice and compact. And just a couple other random things that I've pulled out to try and use more this month. Obviously this I didn't really pull out because I just bought it, but I want to play with this more. This I talked about in my buys and buys video. It's the Radiance Brick in the medium shade from Rimmel. And then I also pulled out this blush from Becca. It's so beautiful, and to me I think this is going to be really, really pretty in the summertime. It's in the shade it's in the shade Foxglove. And yeah, it's just, it looks really intense when you look at it. I might even try this as an eyeshadow because I think it could be really pretty as an eyeshadow. But once you like put it on a brush and fluff it on your cheeks, it's so pretty. Again, if I had a tan, that's just not happening this summer. Let's be real. It would look really pretty. So yeah, I think this would be a beautiful blush on deeper skin tones. I think even if you have a really pale skin tone, again, lightly shearing this out, it could look really, really pretty. Whew, I know that was a long video. I feel like all the videos I've been filming this week that I still need to edit all of them are gonna be really long. It's one of those days, one of those weeks, and all the videos are like my halfway point, so I feel like I got a lot to say. We gotta kind of recap 6 months in one video. So thank you for sticking with me if you stuck with me this far. I hope you liked this video. Feel free to give it a little thumbs up down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my tiny little channel here in Toronto, Canada. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you soon. Bye.